Guys, deluded, I'm back again. You choose Lucas Torreira. I'm not going to keep you guys here long, but obviously we saw the game, England versus Spain at Wembley. For me, it was a good game. Now, for as much as I was supporting England and I want us to win, and our short-lived lead against Rashford really had me shouting my house down and put me in a place of excitement. I must admit, man, it was tough to watch both for England because our midfield is non-existent, and I'm not even getting at their midfielders, but there's no creativity there, which we'll crack on with. But for Spain, man, I felt Spain really managed that game better. I think game management is like these players are obviously the average age of them Spanish players must be considerably older, if I'm exaggerating a bit, than the English guys. But you were seeing the game management, like silly fouls, silly fouls were being won, silly fouls were being given away by England. The way they were playing, the way you saw Busquets at times in the first half basically drop near Ramos and become a centre half, a halfback essentially, and then you saw Isco dropping deep. If only Isco was on playing more penetrative passes more often, how great it'd be. You saw Thiago, you saw the fullbacks overlapping and doubling up. The midfield had the freedom. I know that people say there was a 10-minute space or so, or passage better yet, in the second half where England dominated possession, but you have to define what dominating possession is. Where are you going with it? It was just all going to the right hand side and dying with Dyer or whoever was down there. You couldn't put a cross in and things like that. Like, it was just side to side and it wasn't really happening. To which I say this, Southgate, I'm not a criticism of Southgate. I think Southgate deserved his new contract and deserved his new job. I mean, I know we're acting like we won the World Cup, but it was a good World Cup, and the belief is back, and it finally looks like we have a manager who, whether you agree with his opinion or not, has some sort of clear way of what he wants to implement. So we ain't seen that for a while. It's just looked like freestyling. But I must admit, when I hear people praise how we're playing out from the back and how progressive we are as a team, I can't see it. I was thinking, was I watching the same game? Stones and Joe Gomez especially demonstrated their passing. Maguire's never scared on the ball, but I'm not really seeing it. I'm a big fan of doing things in less passes. There's possession and there's pointless possession. We're taking too many passes, and Spain realised that, and they were just setting up with us. Oh yeah, Rodrigo's movement, Aspas as well, brilliant movement between the two lads. But yeah, man, like there's that. And it's got me thinking that midfield again. Not everyone can be a creative, technical based player in midfield. I'm not advocating that, but I'm really struggling to see what the players that are playing. Dele Alli, I love Dele Alli. I know he's a spud and he plays for the scum. Forgive me, Spurs fans, but I like Dele Alli in it. But sometimes I look at him, especially in the England shirt, and I'm struggling to see what you're doing, how you're benefiting the team, because you're not defending properly. You're using I haven't got socks on, but he's defending poorly. He's trying to hit balls out with his heel. Cool, he's not a defender. In possession, the end product is missing. He's not getting his head up. I actually felt Lingard was better than him yesterday, and you could have afforded to take off Dele and let Lingard do that. Not that Lingard played amazing. Lingard's decent. He puts in effort and things like that. But again, like Dele's kind of limited in that regards, and that's not really their strength. Dyer, Henderson, all these men that were playing, they haven't got it in them. So something needs to be done. Technical-based players need to be introduced. It's probably too early for Foden, so probably not him yet. Hopefully I'm wrong in that regards. Jack Wilshere obviously has not been informed to even get there. Harry Winks has been injured. Lewis Cook and Will Hughes I'd be looking at. Maddison is not really a midfielder like that, but just you get where I'm going in it. There needs to be a more emphasis on creative players, because when we did have the ball in possession, there wasn't really much on. There weren't really a player you was looking at that could play that eye of a needle pass or make something happen. Midfield as well, like we need to be comfortable in the ball. We're not playing it to. I'm not saying you need to all the time play a penetrative pass, but we're too slow. We're sideways. It's not really going anywhere. And especially if we're gonna play free at the back, we need to be decent like that. Ironically, the only good balls I was seeing is when Gomez at times, Stones and actually Maguire were playing them cross-field passes or playing it into the channels. Obviously, I'm being harsh. I did see Dyer do it once, but consistently, that's not Dyer's strengths either. So we can't really get him. But I do think that's a big issue. Like with the street smartness as well. Obviously, it's a young side, but even who was playing right back? Trippier. He's being doubled up against people are not helping him. People are not really shuffling across. The goal we conceded from a set piece was terrible, in my opinion. You could see the whole thing happening. Kane probably loses. I don't know what Henderson's doing, putting his hands up, and Kane loses his man. But I don't really want to get at Kane because schoolboy 101 in defending. Strikers should not mark strikers. They can't. Strikers can barely defend. Like, strikers shouldn't mark strikers. They get caught ball watching, which is probably what happens to Kane. Rodrigo gets the run, and it happens, innit? It happens, but it's a poor goal to concede. the one benefit I could say is our goal that we scored. And I'd also say Rashford can be such a great player if he fixes his end products, man. Like, he needs, I don't know, it's like he has that Sterling thing. Sterling had a couple years ago. It looks like he doesn't, I wouldn't say he's lacking self-belief, but it's like he's not convinced in the decision he wants to take. Some of the shots he's not taking. He needs to get his head up. He plays with his head down way too much for me. Like, I think Rashford's going to be a player, but someone needs to sit him down and say, listen, play with your head up, for example, because he scored a goal and he really should have had a couple. Like, I really like Rashford, man. He's more of a physical problem than people give him credit for all his technical abilities, and he could be a super player, but he does need to probably get his head up. So yeah, man, I don't know who you're gonna call up or whatever. And things like that. It's actually a limited pool when you look at the English players that could be considered in the Premier League. But yeah, man, it's like, I need some creativity somewhere, man. I know Lallana pulled out the side, and to be honest, he probably shouldn't have been called up because he's not fully fit. But an emphasis on creativity. I'm not saying 11 Javis and Iniesta, but you need to show a bit more creative-wise, man, really, because it's not good ball. It's really not. So, like, yeah, between the likes of Winks, Foden, Cook, for example, these sort of, man, they need to be implemented and introduced very soon. But they're all at different stages. They all play different roles. So it is what it is at this moment in time. Guys, deluded, get in the comments, subscribe, and do the rest if you wish. I'm out.